All right, hello everybody. This is Bo from Bo to Fitness, and in this video, we are going to be looking at how to set up and customize your macros on MyFitnessPal, your protein, fats, and carbohydrates. I am on my homepage on MyFitnessPal, and if you are on your iPhone, this is obviously going to look a little different. I'm on my laptop here, but you're going to be basically doing the same basic thing as far as setting up your macros. So what you're going to do, if you look at your on your phone under Settings or on your desktop here, you look up to the top and you'll see where it says under these tabs here, it says Goals, Food, Exercise, so on. We want to click on the Goals tab. And on your iPhone, on settings, you're going to go to goals and do the same thing. And I apologize again for the ads because I do not have the premium version of MyFitnessPal, so I keep deleting them. Anyways, under goals, this might look again a little different on your phone. You may be able to just click on each individual carb, fat, protein separately. On the desktop version, you have to click on the Edit tab here. So we're going to click on Edit. And we're down here, we have this ability to now go ahead and customize our macros. Now, if you have the premium version of MyFitnessPal, you can really set these up specifically. And a lot of people who do not have the premium version have said, how do I set up my macros if I don't have the premium? And that's essentially what this video is really going to be doing. We're going to show you how to tweak these so that they fit the numbers that you've calculated already in advance and should have right in front of you written on a piece of paper. If you haven't figured out your macros, then you haven't watched their previous videos. So you want to go back and watch the videos on how to figure out your carb intake, how to figure out your fat intake, how to figure out your own individual protein intake, and then you will take those numbers that you discovered and you'll be entering them here. So now we can't, if you notice here, I can't click here and just type in my macros, so I'm going to need to go over here and either try to change this number by tweaking the percentage, or another way to do this is to mess with the calories up here. So if I change the calories, then these numbers down here are going to change. So for example, you can see right now that I have my carbs at 325 grams, fat at 87, protein at 130. And if I change my calorie intake up here, so let's say we change that to 2,400 calories instead of 2,600, you can see all those numbers just changed. So that's one way we can go about trying to tweak these macros to get them where we want them to be. Now, just for the sake of this illustration, I've set my macro targets that I want to shoot for at 250 grams of carbs. I want to aim for 50 grams of fat, and right now I'm at 80. And my protein I want to set to about 150 grams of protein, and right now I'm currently at 120. So what I'm going to do to start off with is I first am going to try messing with the percentages. So I can see that my fat's at 30 and my protein's at 20. And so I want this lower and this higher. So I'm going to flip-flop these. And so I'm going to set this to 20%. And that's not bad. It gets me to 53 grams. And my protein I'm going to increase up to, let's try 30%, see what we get here. That gives me to 180 grams. So my protein's a little high, but not bad because I have a protein range of roughly 150 to 180. So if I'm in that range, that's not a big deal. Carbs are a little high. I want them to be closer to 250. So I've messed with the percentages, and one thing you'll notice is that if I mess with the percentages, so let's say I bumped my protein to 35%, down here what happens is instantly this Save Changes tab just went from green to gray, and it's showing me in red this 105. And what this is basically saying is we're not going to let you go and save your changes until this is an even 100%. So they want all these percentages here to add up to an even 100%, or you can't even save your changes. So if I go back here, change that to 30%, now it's turned green. I could click on this button here and save my changes if I wanted to, and then that would keep those permanently unless I went back and changed those again. So I still don't have these where I want them. Carbs are too high. Fat's a tiny bit over, but not bad. And protein is a little bit high as well. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to go ahead and change the calories. So I'm going to drop that down to, let's say, 1,800 calories. And let's see what we get. And you can see that 1,800 calories, carbs are too low, fat is too low, and protein is too low. So I can tell that 1,800 is too low. So rather than dropping it to 1,800, let's try 2,000. And now we look and we see, ooh, wow, that is almost perfect. My fat's a little low. 44 grams instead of 50, protein's at 150, and carbs are right where I want them at 250. This is 100%, so that's great. So do I need to continue tweaking this? Do I need to get my fat right at 50? No. You see, that's the one nice thing about this is we want these to be as close as possible to the numbers that we're looking for, but because we don't have the premium version, we may not be able to get them exactly right. But what we want to look at this and say, well, we really want the protein to be right, and we really want the carbs to be right. The fat, I'm actually not that concerned about, and that's mainly because when we look at foods that are over-reported, or under-reported, I should say, fats are underreported all the time, or fat intake. And this has a lot to do with labeling laws. Many food products, they can be labeled as fat-free if they have less than 1 gram per serving. So take your cooking spray, for example. 1 gram of cooking spray, or I'm sorry, 1 spray of cooking spray may be labeled as 0 grams of fat. However, that's because 1 serving size is defined as 1/3 of a second. But how many people do you know who only spray 1/3 of a second? They're spraying that out there, and so you end up getting 4 or 5 extra grams of fat in there, and you don't even realize it. So setting our fat a little bit lower is actually a good thing, because now I know that if I aim for 44 grams of fat, I'm going to be probably by the end of the day a lot closer to actually hitting my 50, if not even more. So I'm happy with these changes, and I'm going to keep it like that. I'm going to save my changes. And now I'm ready to go ahead and begin logging my foods, and it will keep track of my macros as I go. And so that is how you customize and save your macros on MyFitnessPal. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful.